When planning a tutorial level, I had to take into account that the theme that me and my partner had decided on was that you were a pilot who had crash-landed in a remote area of Vietnam during the war. To do this, I created a mood board to get a feel for how the level would look and what the player should see and experience while travelling through it. I wanted the player to feel cramped and uneasy, which led me to add lots of pictures of caves and ravines to the board, as I felt like this would be a perfect setting to get the feelings out of the player that I wanted. Once I had decided on how the level should feel, I used this to create a node diagram and top-down sketch to describe what the player will be doing in the level, segmenting out distinct areas where the player will do or learn certain things. When a player loads into the level, they start off in a low-down area of rocks scattered around. This part of the cavern is intended to teach the player basic movement mechanics used throughout the level. In the first iteration, there was text on the wall that told the player how to move and where to go. During playtesting, however, feedback tended towards the idea that this was not needed and that all was needed was a simple UI prompt to tell them how to jump. This will help make the player feel more immersed as they're not being told explicitly what to do as they get to figure it out for themselves. This idea of prompting a player to do something and then giving them a scenario in which they can use the mechanic further is continued throughout the level, with the player going on to be taught how to crouch, bringing them into a stealth area immediately to be hidden by the close-up enemies. This area was designed to introduce the players to the enemies that they will be facing throughout the game, teaching them that they can hide in tall grass scattered on the level so that they don't get noticed, along with teaching them that if they manage to sneak up behind the enemies without getting noticed, they can stealth kill them whilst being forgiven by giving the player a respawn point in the stealth area in case they get killed. In the first iteration of the level, the campsite was the last area of the level before the player exited, with just a single enemy looking like this. The main complaint was that there wasn't much for the player to do, leading me to change it as you can see in the following screenshots. The final area of the second iteration of the level has two purposes. One is to give the player a chance to learn how to use the gun that they have just picked up and equipped, and the second is to give them a chance to use all they have learned throughout the rest of the level. This area has guards to shoot, rocks to sneak behind, and boxes to push and to parkour on, and the players have to use all of this to exit the level. You could say that this area acts as a sort of test to see if the player is ready to continue on with the rest of the game.
As soon as the player loads in, the main objectives of the level are presented to the player: the plane and the radio tower. The radio tower is in direct line of sight from the beginning of the level, and the plane is highlighted with a big plume of smoke on top of it. Throughout the level there are ammo pickups for the player to collect. This was requested during the playtest session, as people found that they ran out of ammo too quickly. In the top left of the screen, the player's objectives are shown. Here I am collecting an assault rifle and the intel from the plane. Upon collecting one objective, the next objective is shown. The lake ahead damages the player, so in order to show this, I put radioactive barrels into the lake with radioactive waste. Within the trees is a minefield. If the player steps on one of these mines, they are launched into the air and instantly killed. This is to deter the player from walking around all of the enemies. Here we can see the first iteration of the level, from top down. In the second iteration, a mountain was used instead of the well for the entrance to the level. Also, toxic waste has been added to the lake in order to provide explanation for why it kills. Another improvement made has been to the left-hand side path. This has been made less wide so that the enemies can spot you as you travel through. The base layout has also been improved to make it feel less empty. The player has two options when entering the base. They can either take it loud or they can take it silent and sneak around all of the enemies. Upon using the assault rifle, lots of noise is created and all of the enemies within the buildings come out and attack. Upon death, the player can respawn at the latest checkpoint. These are spread across the map at convenient locations. Here I am using the route on top of the buildings to skip past all of the enemies and avoid having to kill them all. After approaching the second objective, it progresses to the third and final objective. Here I'm using the parkour mechanics to climb up the radio tower to the final objective.